If you're just joining us tonight, we have live team coverage after a jury sentences AME Church shooter Dylann Roof to death. He killed 9 people during a Bible study at Mother Emanuel Church in downtown Charleston back in June of 2015. We start tonight with Lisa Wiseman, who is live with more on this verdict, this decision from the federal courthouse tonight.
Raphael, families say that they got what they wanted at the end of the day, but first they had to listen again to Dylann Roof speaking before the court, speaking to those jurors as part of his closing arguments. In it, he said, "I feel like I had to do it. I still feel like I had to do it." That's when the prosecution called him an unrepentant racist. The jurors obviously agreed with that, condemning him to death. Karina Bolster was also inside the federal courthouse today during those closing arguments, and the prosecutors, they spoke pretty powerfully.
Lisa, Prosecutor Judge Richardson said in court that Roof has not shed one tear for shooting those 9 men and women back nearly a year and a half ago. He went on to say that Roof fully understands the nature of his crimes and what he did back then, and he fully understands the consequences that come with it. Now, that consequence clearly turned out to be death. However, Roof was quick to say in his closing argument that it only took one juror to stand up for his or her view in order for him to get life in prison without parole. Now, he went on to say that the only time he felt bad, or at least one of the only times he felt bad, was for bringing his family into this entire mess. And he said in a statement released by the family today, they said, quote, "We will struggle as long as we live to understand why he committed this horrible attack, which caused so much pain to so many good people." Of course, that statement coming from Dylann Roof's family, who at this time we believe still lives in Columbia, South Carolina. At this point, based on our observance inside the courtroom, it didn't appear that they were here for the verdict today for Dylann Roof.
But from time to time throughout the proceedings, they were here. His grandmother was here at one point in time, his parents as well. His mother, of course, suffered that medical episode during a recess there in court. Carter Coyle was also inside actually the courtroom when that verdict was read. Now, Carter, the jurors, they had some questions for the judge.
They did. They asked a couple of questions about an hour or so into deliberations, and then about an hour later, we were told everyone needs to come back to the courtroom, and the judge said we've reached a verdict. Every bench in that courtroom was tightly packed today as the jurors filed back in. I noticed that some of the victims' family members were bowing their heads and praying as that death sentence was read out loud. Others were crying. And whether or not they agreed with this sentence itself, I think just the magnitude, the weight of seeing justice finally play out in front of them was just extremely heavy and overwhelming. Now, again, another thing we wanted to show you was this video around 6 o'clock today. We got this video of a black van leaving the courthouse. Dylann Roof was inside. Security guards escorted him out to the van, and they actually stopped traffic on Broad Street here near the federal courthouse so that van could leave. Guards also told me the jury itself was taken to a safe and secret location, which of course makes sense. Security has just been really tight for this whole trial, so obviously it makes sense that jurors will be protected tonight until they can go back to living a normal life after covering one of the highest profile death penalty cases in America. So Judge Gergel did say he understood the weight of that, to ask jurors to perform that kind of service, and he said at the end of the proceedings today he was going to go to the jury room and thank personally each juror who had given this service for the community, and it's obviously something that they took very seriously. Lisa, back to you.
And those jurors will be back in court tomorrow, as we will as well. We'll bring you all the latest from what happens inside of Judge Gergel's federal courtroom here at the courthouse in downtown Charleston. After that point in time, Dylann Roof will be put on death row, likely in Terre Haute, Indiana. That is also where executions are performed on the federal level. Raphael?
All right, Lisa, just to clarify, did I hear Carter say that tonight the jurors are being placed in protective custody somewhere? They aren't being sent back home?
I could double check with Carter, but I think that that was just for them to leave the courtroom, so they weren't Yeah, I think that was just so they were able to kind of get off the premises safe and sound.
Very good. Thank you very much for clearing that up. I appreciate that. Now, Dylann Roof's defense released this statement following the verdict. It says, "We want to express our sympathy to all of the families who were so grievously hurt by Dylann Roof's actions. Today's sentencing decision means that this case will not be over for a very long time. We are sorry that despite our best efforts, the legal proceedings have shed so little light on the reasons for this tragedy." And just some backstory on that, Dylann Roof chose to serve as his own attorney during this trial, and he kind of handcuffed his court-appointed attorneys who are professionals in dealing with death sentences, and he kind of handcuffed them. He chose to represent himself and did not follow a lot of their advice in this trial. Now, we also heard from Dylann Roof's family members. Some of them live in Columbia, others live here. They released this joint statement: "We are Dylann Roof's family. We will always love Dylann. We will struggle as long as we live to understand why he committed this horrible attack, which caused so much pain to so many good people. We wish to express the grief we feel for the victims of his crimes and our sympathy to the many families that he has hurt. We continue to pray for the Emanuel AME families and the Charleston community." And to that end, people may not know, and we'll read Senator Scott's letter just a little bit later, but people may not know that the family members, I had an opportunity to talk with Dylann Roof's grandfather. He didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but the family members who are here have been seen reaching out to different churches in the area. They want to reconcile. They do not agree, many of them that we've talked with what has happened, and they're very sorry about this. We hope to sit down with them and find out more about Dylann Roof, more than what we thought we would find out in a courtroom. That didn't happen. Maybe one-on-one we can reach out to them and talk to them. Now, there have been letters that have come from our lawmakers. Senator Tim Scott from Congress released a statement that said, in part, "While we can never bring back the Emanuel 9, we can ensure their legacy will live on forever. We will continue to stand behind the families and their message of unity. Today is a pivotal moment in their road towards some sort of closure, and we will all be there with them on that journey. So the families of the Emanuel 9, to them I say thank you. In your loss, you have given all of us more than we ever thought possible." Again, the formal sentencing for Dylann Roof is tomorrow morning, and at that point, family members can tell him exactly what they think and share their loss and their grief in an open court. Now is a good time for you to download our free Live 5 News app so you can get alerts anytime there's movement in the courtroom. We'll let you know. We'll send it right to your phone or device and keep you up to date. It is free. It is in your app store. All you have to do is search Live 5 News. All right, temperatures tonight are